Alright guys, today I'm going to be showing you the Robigo Mines run. Today is August 8th of 2020, so this is still working as of 2020 on August 8th. Right now we are at Robigo Mines, and Robigo Mines is located in the Robigo system, okay? And if we pull up the system map, it is this first station right here. So what we're going to be doing is if we go into Starport Services, we're actually going to be looking at the passenger lounge. And what we're going to be doing is transporting passengers out to a place called Sirius Atmospherics. Now, what we want to look for on these three guys here is some of the higher paying jobs from Sirius Atmospherics. So right now I'm looking at a 3.8, a 3.6. Let's see what we got here. This guy doesn't have any right now. You got a couple 4 millions right here. Another 3 million, 3.8. So let's go ahead and grab up these 4 millions. See if we can't fill out our entire cabin here. So pick those. I saw a 3.8. I'm going to go ahead and grab that guy. Let's go back to the first guy. He had a 3.6. So 3.3, and that looks like the highest. Well, there's another 3.8. So those are the high paying ones, and now what we want to look for is any filler jobs that we can do. So obviously I'm going to take this larger one right here, pick him. And I've got 2 left here, so that means that my small 4-person cabins can take those 2 guys. So we're looking at a full ship here. I've got 8 cabins in total, so that means I've got 8 missions that I can do here. They're all going to the same place. Now what I'm going to do is launch, and I've got a docking computer and Super Cruise Assist as well. So we're going to pull up the galaxy map. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Sothis is right down below Robigo. I'm going to pull up the system map for Sothis. And what we want to do is Sothis A5, go ahead and plot a route there. Take off while that was auto docking. We're already targeted at our destination. Boost a couple times so that you can get out of mass lock here. Boot up your frame shift. Now, Sothis is probably 2 to 3 hops away if you have an upgraded FSD in your ship. The ship I'm using right now is a Python, very lightweight build, as much lightweight as you can be with 8 passenger cabins. Now what I do have is a fully upgraded FSD through Felicity Farseer, and that's a 5A FSD. So for me, it's still a 3 jump range, and I've got about a 30 light year jump range right now with my ship fully loaded. What I've found is that these missions don't update as quickly as like your 10-minute update mission boards. So typically the 12 to 15 minutes that it takes to leave and come back will help with, you know, keeping your missions fresh and you not running out of missions. I do occasionally run out of missions and not have enough missions where I have to wait a few minutes for a mission board to update. Now we left probably at the 35-minute mark, maybe a little bit after that. So we'll use the 35-minute mark as kind of our timing frame there. We're jumping into Sothis right now. And I will show you, if you have never done this before, I won't just target Sirius Atmospherics. I'll show you how to target Sirius Atmospherics and where to find it. So I'll go through, you know, both options that you could do. So right now, Sirius A5 is down behind the sun here, or star, excuse me. I'll show you, if you have done this in the past, you can come over into your nav filters with point of interest on. You can actually select Sirius Atmospherics and Super Cruise Assist to it. But if you've never done it before, you want to make sure that you have Sothis A5 on and that you're going there. And I'll show you exactly, how I look for it and where you can target it at. So you can see it's about a 1500 light second jump away from the star. And, it will take a little bit of time to get out here. This is probably the longest part of this entire thing. But I typically go full throttle until I get down into about the 800 range, and then I slowly start to back off, bringing it back down into the blue. So once we get to that 7-minute mark, what we're trying to do is not overshoot this and come in too hot. Alright, so fairly soon we're going to start seeing points of interest pop up around Sothis A5. And what I typically look for is about a cluster of 3 of them. And typically Sirius Atmospherics is around that 3-piece cluster. Now it orbits Sothis A5, and obviously Sothis A5 has its own orbital path here. So, it could be a little tricky for you the first time coming out here, but once you target it, once we do this mission and you go in and target it, it will be in your navigation pane that I showed you. So you could just Super Cruise Assist to it then. So we've got a couple points of interest coming up here. And so there's like a cluster of 3 right here. You see that? Like a triangle. Sirius Atmospherics is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and target that. We're going to fly in here. Drop out. Now I usually kill my throttle, okay? What you want to do here is it's right in front of us. All you have to do is target it. Now if you look in your bottom left hand corner, it's actually tourist beacon scanning. So once that updates, we'll see a bunch of missions being completed. So now I'm going to go back to my galaxy map, and we're going to go back to Robigo here. Pull up the system map. And it's this first Robigo mines right there. Plot route. Now what I typically do here is I do a little flyby. I've had missions update in the past just like that, where it actually required a flyby before it finished. So you can actually start charging your frameshift drive without looking at where you're going, and boost to kind of give yourself a little bit of a whip up to where you're trying to target. But now we're heading back. I believe we left around the 35-minute mark, so we're coming up on 9 minutes right now. 8 minutes actually. We'll do a little slingshot maneuver here, fly around. Now one thing to mention is it's very important doing these passenger runs not to overheat your ship, not to let your ship take damage. So be very cognizant of how close you are to the star, what your temperature levels are, and you don't want your ship to take any damage, because what will happen is, because it's a passenger mission, they actually have happiness values. And if your ship starts to take damage, if you ram something, or if you're really rough with your landing or something like that, their happiness level can decrease. And if their happiness level decreases, you will get a smaller payout and a smaller reputation gain from this. So it's really important to try and limit the amount of damage or anything like that to your ship. So we've got one more jump here. We're flying into Robigo, and like I said earlier, I use both auto docking and super cruise assist. So what I've found in the past is, to grind out and do all of these runs, that it's very beneficial to have some sort of, Netflix or Amazon show up, and it's a very easy grind. It gets boring, it gets tedious at times, so doing it while you're watching a show or something is very simple. I'm actually doing it to rank up my exploration status right now, and I'll show you when we drop out here. I believe I'm around 18 or so, at 19% into the Pioneer rank here. So each one of these runs typically gives about 1% once you're in the Pioneer rank of exploration. The previous rank I was getting about 3 to 4% per run. So I'm going to go ahead and initiate my Super Cruise Assist, and go right for it. Now, like I was saying, I've been doing this for a little bit of time now, probably around the 12 to 13 hour range, if not maybe a little bit more, but I'm currently at 1,081,000,000 credits, and I have already bought some of the other ships and stuff that I've wanted. I bought an Anaconda, and I bought a second Python for some mining runs. So this is a very beneficial, about 20 million plus per run, and your credits are just going to skyrocket by doing this. It's a little boring and it's a little tedious, but what I'm actually working on is doing this to get my elite in exploration, and after I get that, obviously once you get elite rank, you will unlock Jameson Memorial, and you can buy all the ships and all the components and stuff out of that space station. So in my mind, doing this to increase your wealth at the beginning of the game is more beneficial than, having to do it at a later part in the game when you're in need of money. Having all that money up front will definitely help fund any of your extracurricular activities that you'd like to do in this game. And myself, I'm not an expert at this game by any means, but I have found, this run, I found a post on Reddit, I believe, that actually, explained this and showed a beginner build for it and everything like that. So definitely all that information is out there. I wanted to test this out a couple weeks ago, and I found that this is absolutely viable, still working. So I just wanted to make an update video for everybody out there who's wondering if they should invest that 80 million or so into a Python and upgrade their ship to get these types of FSD boosters and all that sort of stuff. So we're flying into Robigo right now. We'll be docking here shortly. One thing to note that I have not personally experienced is, because it's an illegal passenger mission, I have not been scanned, I have not been interdicted, I have not had any sort of issue with this whatsoever. So keep that in mind. If you're worried about doing something illegal in the game or anything like that, it's definitely very, very low risk. One thing I have noted is occasionally I'll come in here. I do this in solo play or in a private server, but one thing I have noticed is the NPCs can occasionally come in and dock on this medium landing pad, and there's only one medium landing pad here. So when that happens, I typically just exit out of that game, open up another solo game, or switch over to the private group that we have. And typically the landing pad's opened up. But we're going to go in here and we're actually going to see how much money we made. One thing, you guys always want to refuel. Your ship's not going to have a fuel scoop more than likely if you are fully decking out for passengers. So always refuel at the end of a run. So like I said, we were at 1,081,000,000. So let's go ahead and turn in and see what we get out of this run. It wasn't the greatest run for credits, but it's probably the medium ground run that we typically get for credits. Let's see here. Complete that one. And that was all of our turn-ins. So we were at 1,081,000,000 and we are currently at 1,106,000,000. So that came out to about a 25 million credit run. Now granted, I am fully repped up on each of these guys, so I'm getting the highest paid missions and I'm getting, you know, the most amount of missions. So if we go back and take a look just to see what's left, I got 1 3.6, 3, and that's about it right now until the board flips. So, you know, you will have lower paying runs obviously, but that one run that we had was pretty mid-range that I feel, and we got about 25. You know, I typically will average and say, you know, 20 million per run, but we're at the 50-minute mark right now, and we left around the 35-minute mark, so I'll give that a good 15 minutes per round trip. And that's it, guys. That's the Robigo run. So let me know if you have any questions, and good luck out there, captains.